HBO officially confirmed The Last of Us Season 3 fate, and it's much worse than I thought. It's not all too often that a video game manages to translate into the realm of film or television when it receives an adaptation for the big or small screen. But against all odds, HBO's take on The Last of Us managed to capture the attention and acclaim from gamers and non-gamers alike, even earning multiple Emmy and Golden Globe nominations with the release of Season 1 back in 2023. It took nearly 2 years for Season 2 to finally hit the air, and even though it received a far more mixed reception from its audience, they were more than willing to forgive the 2-year wait between seasons, as it was widely understood that the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes played a major role in the delay. While it's been announced that the show will most definitely be returning for a 3rd season, along with a potential 4th, its estimated premiere date has left many fans disappointed. With Season 3 not set to arrive until 2027, the show's fans are now being forced to stand another 2-year wait thanks to the deliberately slower pacing of the show's production schedule, and I completely understand why so many are upset with it. Season 2 had a real excuse behind its production delay. Part of what has made The Last of Us such a faithful adaptation of the games is due to the fact that, up until recently, it's been driven in part by the man who created them to begin with. Neil Druckmann initially served as the series' co-showrunner alongside Craig Mazin, and while the two were on track to start filming the series later in 2023, only months after the Season 1 finale, they faced a serious developmental roadblock with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. The strikes caused a major shakeup in entertainment as a whole, as not only were actors unable to work and promote their other works that were being released at the same time, but the writers in the industry had also temporarily jumped ship, putting several upcoming projects on infinite hiatus. Although principal photography was set to start filming later in the year, Druckmann was quoted in Variety, saying, "We've outlined all of Season 2, and we're ready to go as soon as the strike ends," and it took some time for the writers to catch up on finishing the scripts. Seeing how principal photography didn't start filming until the following year in February, it's likely that the season could have seen a much earlier release, perhaps sometime later in 2024, had the strikes never occurred. With this in mind, I do find it a little concerning as to why the audience is going to have to wait just as long, or potentially even longer, for the release of Season 3. But after the recent news about the shakeup in the leadership of its creative crew, I can only speculate on a few reasons as to why that is. What is really going on with The Last of Us Season 3's delay? Unlike Season 2, the next upcoming chapter of The Last of Us doesn't have the same excuse of actors and writers striking in solidarity over fair pay and improvement of working conditions as a reason behind its delay, but there does appear to be somewhat of an explanation behind it. Due to Druckmann's game-related endeavors at Naughty Dog, the creator has made the decision to part ways with the HBO series, effectively leaving Craig Mazin to take over as sole showrunner. Even though Casey Bloys, the CEO of HBO, admitted that he's not worried at all about how it'll affect the overall quality of the show, I can't help but feel a sense of frustration about what this will ultimately mean for the show behind the scenes. Although Mazin has been credited as the sole writer for most of the episodes, part of the reason the production of the first season went so well, which more than likely would have also been the case for Season 2 if the strikes hadn't happened, was the partnership between him, Druckmann, and co-writer Hallie Gross. With Gross having also left the show, Mazin is now the only one steering the ship, which is clearly not ideal for a show as big as this one. I understand that good TV takes time, but given how other shows, including similarly big-budgeted ones with stories told on such a massive scale, such as Game of Thrones, and even several network shows with smaller budgets, have been able to turn out a product of consistent quality on a yearly basis in the past, a line needs to be drawn on the amount of time it should really take. Making an audience wait for another season of television for about as long as they would normally wait for a movie is something that has had a sad effect on both the state of TV overall and the patience of its audience. I really hope Season 3's delay is all worth it in the end. It's been announced that, much like how the Part 2 video game switches perspectives from Ellie to Abby, a majority of Season 3's storyline will be focusing on the latter. Given the level of hatred that the character has for, say,